Nung bata tayo, alam mo na Merry Christmas na kung dinala ka ng mga magulang mo sa toy store. Ngayon na matanda na tayo, we still want our toys, pero medyo mahal na sila. Ang tanong, will there be holiday sales, price drops, discounted prices from our local computer stores this holiday season? We'll dive into the Pricewatch data to find out right after this short word from our sponsor. And spoiler alert, yung sponsor natin, naka-discount sila.
Sawa ka na ba sa unactivated Windows mo? Well, lucky you! Pinakabago mula sa cdkeyoffer.com. Windows 10 and Windows 11 activation codes. Legit, safe, at pinakamura. Madali lang umorder.
Hanapin ang Windows version na gusto mo. Piliin ang preferred payment method. Wala pang 5 minutes, nagsiligi ka na para sa Windows mo.
Marami na kaming natulungan.
Dati, sad and depressed ako. But now, I found the love of my life.
Dati, aimless and walang purpose ang life ko. But now, I'm a world-class Zumba instructor.
So, web developer ako and content creator for a YouTube channel. And ngayon, ganun pa rin ako pero activated na yung Windows ko. Kaya kung naghahanap ka ng legit, mura, at original software,
Check out cdkeyoffer.com.
Check out cdkeyoffer.com.
Check out cdkeyoffer.com. Alright, no more clickbait delays. I'm just gonna come out with the answer. The odds of price drops or Christmas sales for this holiday season for PC parts in the Philippines, mukhang mahina, not looking good. So we have a couple of indicators here flashing red, or yung mga prices natin nakapula, meaning that we've seen a price increase compared to last month. You notice last month, October, medyo, well, kind of hard to say because we started tracking the 4070 Super and then the 4070 Ti Super. So, walang historical data up to that point. And if we exclude those two new GPUs that we're tracking, parang evenly split naman. May price decreases dito, may price increase for the 1650, 4080 Super, and the 4090. Actually, just jumping to the 4080 Super, you lost your opportunity to get one at a good price. When we first started tracking the data nung April of this year, ganda ng presyo. Yung average price niya around 67,000 pesos. And it has never looked back. Pataas siya nung pataas. From 67, average price naging 68, naging 69, naging 70. Break muna, like no price change in August. But then September, paakyat, October, and November. So ever since we started tracking it, the 4080 Super has gone up. Malas ata kami. And that's not the only high-end car that we're seeing na magandang mga presyo dati, paakyat na sila ngayon. Which is kind of surprising because we all know that the 50 series, 5090, and then after that 5080 is just around the corner, probably January 2025. But in the meantime, na ito yung mga fastest on the block, pamahal sila ng pamahal. And I've said in other episodes of Pricewatch na we don't usually see holiday decreases or holiday discounts. For example, last year, may konting decrease as you can see from these prices, but nothing really that significant. Wala pa nga 10% price decrease for the 1650. So that's 2023. If we go back all the way to 2022, 2 years ago, price decrease of 200 pesos or so. So these are the normal price fluctuations. Ibang mga months, aakyat talaga siya konti, bababa siya konti. But we don't see a lot of steep price drops in GPUs and CPUs in the Philippines for December. That's what the historical data shows, and that's also what we're seeing now as we approach December 2024. So we're just gonna go through each model. 1650, slight, very slight price increase. 3050, slight price decrease. 3060, price increase. And this 3060 is still kicking. Parang ito yung 12GB version. Matagal nang Nvidia has been trying to flush it out of the market with the 4060, with the cheaper 3060 8GB. But the 3060 12GB, which is a pretty good performer if you can find it for a good price, is still kicking. Plus, nagmahal pa siya. It's not as expensive as it was nung September where it hit almost 18,000. Now it's around 17,000. But that's still a reasonable price increase, around 500 pesos or so from what we were seeing last month. And yeah, this is an old card. You think pababa na yung presyo. If ever may trend, dapat pababa. Pero ito, may bump up pa nga. The 4060, I keep repeating, should be cheaper than the 3060 12 gigabytes, but that is in larger, more established markets, not here in the Philippines, has a slight price decrease, like around 50 pesos, and it's still around 18,700. So that is a very solid mid-range card. Got some hate when it came out because people were expecting more for the price. But overall, because you are getting these 40 series upscaling technologies which are not available on the older Nvidia cards. So overall, I thought the 4060 was not bad. Unpopular opinion. 4070 Super, last month we started tracking it. This month, tumaas na siya by around 1,000 pesos or so. So baka nga malas kami. When we start tracking a model, that's when it starts going up, which is also what we saw here sa 4080 Super. Looking great in April, and then biglang umakyat to 68, and then it's been on a tear, as I mentioned earlier. 4070 Ti Super, slight price decrease by around 600 pesos or so. Again, nothing to get too excited about, and nothing like a Christmas 10% off, 15% off, 20% off sale, which we don't really see sa PC parts dito sa atin for Christmas. Talked about the 4080 Super. Better time to buy it. Might have been a couple of months ago. Now, it's really kind of pricey. The 4090 has gone up, but as we'll look at in the deep dive breakdown later, out of the 4 shops that we track, only 2 of them have the 4090. One of them is a very well-priced, around 100,000 MSI 4090. So that one is not bad. But the other shop has a very expensive one, around 130 or closer to 140, I think, which is why the average is around here at around 122,000 pesos. So the takeaway is there are cheaper 4090s na reputable brand pa rin still on the market. It's just that they're a bit hard to find. So the average price does go up since yung ibang shops, yung in stock na lang yung mga mahal na variants or models. The 4090 also looking a bit pricey. The best was September with around 114,000 pesos. But again, even now, you can get 100,000 4090 na MSI from at least one shop that we surveyed. Going to AMD, the 6600 has a slight price increase. Whenever I see an AMD card price going up, I'm always like, why? Kasi AMD is playing catch up. It's not considered as the performance king. The drivers can be a bit weak sometimes. You'd think na babawi sila sa presyo. Pero that hasn't been the case. We have seen price increases for AMD cards. Not consistently, but they do bump up from time to time. Although, to be fair, slight price increase lang naman for the 6600. Slight price decrease actually for the 7700 XT at around 400 pesos. Increase, about significant, 5% or so from the 7900 GRE. Newer model, or a new model introduced on the same kind of line. We do carry this particular card in the shop. It's on stock now. Unlike other shops, I think out of the 4 shops that we surveyed, only one has the GRE. We don't include Hardware Sugar stock in the survey, but we do have the GRE on stock. We've noticed it's a little popular. People have been asking about it. So maybe AMD, sensing an opportunity, a little bit of demand, has bumped up the price a little bit. And the XTX has fallen a little bit by around 1,700 or so, but nothing to get excited about. So overall for GPUs, just these minor price fluctuations. Even with new models about to hit and some of the new models like the GRE coming out in the past few months, not much of a change. The 4070 Super, of course, and then the 4080 Super, welcome additions to the line. But those very well segmented yung mga pricing segments in Nvidia. So we don't expect to see a lot of price changes. It's very clear where the 4070 Super is, price to performance, then 4070 Ti Super, and then 4080 Super, and then of course the 4090. Very well segmented na yun. So would be very surprising to see like a 4080 Super drop down to the price of the 4070 Ti Super. Nvidia has the market. Parang talagang hawak na nila yung market. They know which price points that people are expected to buy at. Interestingly, I was reading about yung expected price ng 5090. The rumors are that it'll probably be around the same price as the 4090 because Nvidia nga has experimented with all these price points. They know that there are enthusiasts there that will pay for around $2,000 or so for 5090, 4090 for the King of the Hill. Probably won't go beyond that, kuno, according to the rumors. Again, just to highlight how efficiently Nvidia has programmed its GPUs na, okay, ikaw, sa segment na to, and ito yung presyo mo, and everything else just kind of cascades from the top of the line, which is currently the 4090, but will be the 5090 in a couple of months. So nothing spectacular, no like, oh my god, changes on the GPU side. On the CPU side, the 7950X has gotten a little cheaper. What I find surprising here is the 7800X3D. So this is not a new CPU. I mean, we've seen this. We've been tracking the price of this since last year, June. And the performance for gaming has been well known. The X3D architecture, where there's more cache for the CPU, more immediate cache for the CPU, does wonders for game performance. And the 500X3D, the 7800X3D, all of those guys are known for the game performance. But it's only like in the past maybe 4 or 5 months that where we got a supply shortage. It was a little hard to find the 7800X3D from our suppliers around 2 months ago. So na-sort out na yon, we do have stock, but they're at a pricier point. Mas mahal na sila ngayon. So a decent price for the 7800X3D was mid-year, around 23,400 pesos. Now we're looking at almost 28,000, which is a 5,000 peso increase. That's around a 20% increase, roughly, from just 6 months ago. And you're talking about 20%, right? I mean, if you buy a stock nung June and then ngayon it increased by 20%, that is an excellent return. And that's how much inflation or that's how much price increase we're seeing. So 7800X3D, I think because there is demand for it. People are starting to upgrade to the AM5 platform. They're hearing what's good for gaming, and the 7800X3D consistently outperforms even more expensive CPUs for gaming. So I think what we're seeing here is like there is demand, so people are pricing it higher, and also there is more demand because more people are starting to move on from AM4 into AM5, especially gamers. Slight price increase also for the 7600X, which is sort of the entry-level performance CPU for AM5. Interestingly, the 5600X from the much vaunted, still much loved, very good AM4 platform, which I'm still on, is slightly more expensive, almost actually 8% or so more expensive, 5% more expensive compared to last month. And out of the 5 AMD CPUs we track, actually 3 of them had price increases. No change for the 5600G. So AMD, I don't know what AMD's strategy is for GPUs, to be honest. I can't make heads or tails out of what they're trying to do with performance and pricing. Pero sa CPU side, very clear that they are getting a bit pricier. Maybe also because Intel has stumbled. Its chief competitor, Intel, it has just kind of imploded. I mean, the new Arrow Lake CPUs from Intel, we're not following them yet because they're not available yet in the local market. The official local market, I think you can get through the gray market. But Arrow Lake has a bunch of performance problems. They claim they can fix that through software. So, like, Cinebench benchmarks are good for the Arrow Lake, but then in-game, real-world performance, like in games, is not that great. But supposedly they have instructions coming out, like BIOS updates and things like that, that can fix that. So we'll have to see. But in the meantime, for sure, AMD is looking very nice as a provider of CPUs. Intel CPUs, actually, out of the 4 that we track, 2 have gone up. Slight price, actually, to be fair, very like 2 peso price increase for the 4900K. And then a slight price increase also of around 200 pesos or so for the 14700K. No change for the 12500. Again, we haven't had the 13600K sighting since July. We will swap this out soon when we get new data, when the Arrow Lake CPU start coming onto the market. But as of now, it's not looking great for Intel. They have their CPUs which fried themselves to try to get a bit faster. They have the newest CPUs, the Arrow Lake CPUs, which are just not performing as well as they should. And even price-wise, there hasn't been a softening of their prices for the CPUs that are already out. So very little to recommend Intel at this point. Okay, we go to the per shop deep dive. As you know, if you watched Pricewatch before, we take the prices of 4 of the largest PC stores in the country and then we break them down so that you can tell kung nag-skew ba yung average. Again, I mentioned like the 4090 here. Actually, only 2 out of the 4 shops had the 4090. One had it really at a good price, around 100,000. The other one's around 135 ata K. So that's why the average price looks a bit higher than what you can find. So this is the average, the summary sheet, but you can also go to the per shop deep dive tab and we have the breakdown here. But I don't mention the names of the 4 shops because they're very big. They can do their own marketing. Hardware Sugar is very small. We're a very bootstrap kind of shop. So if you want to support independent PC retailers in the country, please do consider buying from us. If you're not in the market for a computer part, maybe just even one of our cool shirts. I guarantee you will not regret it, whether it's a shirt or buying a PC or a PC part from us. That said, we will go through the deep dive. So for Wedge, all of the names of the shops are hidden under aliases, but the aliases are consistent. From 2 years ago, we used the same alias for the same shop. All of the names are taken from science fiction, famous pilots from science fiction. So when we say Wedge from 5 episodes, 10 episodes ago, that's the same Wedge that we're talking about now. No price difference for the 1650. Here, for the deep dive, I note which brand and which model, and this is the cheapest of the kind that I can find. So this is the cheapest 1650 2-fan card I can find from Wedge. No price change at 8920. 3050, again, we have it color-coded. It is cheaper this month. Kasi last month, the cheapest 3050 from Wedge was an Asus at 11340. Ngayon, it's at around 11,000 from Gigabyte. Again, I'm a little surprised na may price increase for the 3060, but here we go. 4060 actually went down, I think only slightly. This month, 8950. Last month, it was at 19,500, so around 600 peso price drop. 4070 Super went up. 4070 Ti Super went down. No 4080 Super, and then the 4090. Closer to, I mentioned this earlier, but it's actually closer to around 140,000 pesos. So that's a big price difference between if you're buying from this shop, you get a 4090 at around 140 versus if you buy from another shop, which we also take note later, which has it for around 100,000. I have noticed that it's harder to find the top-end models, 4080 Super and 4090. Price increase for the 6600 Eagle. Again, I don't know why. 7700 XT, same price. And then they don't have the GRE and they don't have the XTX, which is the top-performing CPU, top-performing GPU of AMD currently. For Roy Fokker from Robotech, no change for the 1650. Price increase for the 3050. 3060, 4060, 4070 Super, all no change. Like, not a cent above, not a cent below. And a welcome price drop for the 4070 Ti Super. The 4070 Ti Super is interesting for its price to performance. It's really this kind of sweet point. I mean, if you're getting a 4070 Super and up, anything beyond the 4060, medyo mahal na yon, performance na yon, that's above mid-range. The 4070 Ti Super, though, is like this really pinakagitna between the 4070 Super and the 4080 Super. It's like you don't want to shell out for the 4080 Super, but you have enough budget to go beyond the 4070 Super. Again, Nvidia has the market segmentation down. They're like, here, have a 4070 Ti Super. And there was a price drop from Roy. No 4080 Super and 4090 from Roy, although that's not surprising because Roy doesn't tend to stock these very high-end GPUs or CPUs, as we'll see later. The only price change for the AMD on Roy's end is the 7700 XT. Slight price drop. Joker, only 2 changes. Increase for the 1650 and a decrease for the 4060. But that's not even the cheapest 4060. Like, you can get a 4060 from Roy for around 18,500. Roy seems to have the cheapest one. No, Wash has the cheapest one at 17,500, not 18,500. So even between the individual shops, there are price fluctuations depending on the brand and the model that you get. And these are all the same. I mean, they're all the same chip. Like, you say 4060 chipset talaga yun. But, you know, depending on the brand, depending on the model, there are significant price differences depending also on the shop. Lots of price changes actually for Wash. Decrease for the 3050, increase for the 3060 and the 4060. No change for the 4070 Super. 4070 Ti Super looking good actually. 49,850. I mean, compare that to the cheapest of Roy Bato, Joker. The cheapest of Joker is around 52,400. The cheapest of 59,400, sorry, for the 4070 Ti Super. And then wow, that is a lot. Sorry, napakamot ako na... I mean, yeah, look at this. So the cheapest 4070 Ti Super of Joker is around 59,400. And this one is around 49,850. So that's a 10,000 peso difference. Medyo ballpark rin to eh. Like, so there's like 55,500 from Roy and then 54,000. But this 49,000 is bonkers. Tas gigabyte pa siya. Again, per shop, there can really be variations, which is why it's good to shop around and which is why we like to do Pricewatch so that the consumer can get an average sense of the prices. But it's just a general guide. From there, you can kind of see like, okay, if I like this shop, I know that their RMA is good. I know na hindi ako papahirapan kung magka-problema ako. I might get from them even if they're a bit pricier or they have this one model that I really like. Kahit okay lang na mas mahal compared to the average price, I'm still getting the model that I like. So this Pricewatch is a general guide so that you can strategically determine your buying points or your buying conditions. This is super cheap. They did have a price increase for the 4080 Super. And then this is the well-priced 4090 I was talking about, which is around 104,000 compared to the 140,000 peso 4090, which we saw from Wedge. And again, only two shops have the 4090 of the shops that we surveyed. Only Wedge and Wash have the 4090 still on stock. Again, I have no idea what AMD is doing with their lives and their pricing. So the 6600 went down, 7900 XTX went down, but it's hard to make a compelling argument for the 7900 XTX even at this lower price. And then price increase for the 7700 XT and the GRE. Again, the GRE, out of the 4 shops we surveyed, only one of them had a sample. We even take note here. Sorry, let me pull that back. We even take note here when we do the averaging if the model we're looking at had less than 4 samples. So only one of the 4 shops had the GRE, but just a reminder, we at Hardware Sugar also have it on stock. Okay, just the deep dive very quickly on the CPU side. Usually we just skim through the CPU because there aren't a lot of changes. It's not like the GPUs. The GPUs there can be dramatic like ups and downs. Kumbaga, parang yung CPU parang bond market yan. Yung GPU market parang crypto. Yung crypto kasi parang roller coaster yan. And you can look at the other content we have about crypto. But the CPU market is really quite more sedate, more calm. For Wedge, only one price change, drop on the 5600X. For Roy, only one price change, an increase for the 5600X. And again, very layo nung difference. If you get it from from Wedge, that's 8.1. From Roy, it's around 8.8. So that's a 700 peso difference. That's almost 10%. Joker, price increase for the 7800X 3D. And then Wash, all of the changes of Wash, pataas. 7800X 3D more expensive, 7600X more expensive, and the 5600X more expensive. Yep, and then we have the average pricing here along with how many samples we had of each. So bottom line, which is the question we started this video with, we don't expect to see price drops or significant price drops or holiday discounts for GPUs and CPUs in the Philippines, at least for this holiday season. There doesn't seem to be any indications of that. But I will take this opportunity to let you guys know that we are having some discounts in Hardware Sugar, not on PC parts, but on our services. On our cleaning and cable management service, whether that's for your rig For your GPU, for your laptop, we clean all of those. We can cable management all of those where necessary. These are our current prices, but we are dropping them for the holiday season. So if you come in starting this end of November up to the end of December, you can enjoy discounted prices on our cleaning and cable management. Something that, hindi naman nagbubuhat ng sariling bangko, but something I think which we do really well. We put a lot of effort and care and attention into the cleaning and cable management that we do, and that's why we're proud to offer it as a separate service. And if you're already a Hardware Sugar customer, like you've bought from us before, whether it's anything, whether it's a service or a part or a full rig, you can come in and get a further discounted price. We really appreciate our customers, and we try to say thank you as much as we can. And even before, there was the regular price and a discounted price for old Hardware Sugar customers, from those of you who have patronized us in the past. And we continue that. You get a further discount on the services I mentioned. Merry Christmas in advance. There's going to be a bunch of content from us moving forward into the holiday season. And I hope Christmas will be very merry, but unfortunately, that will not be because prices of CPUs and GPUs have gone down. Thanks for watching.